We've all heard the phrase, less is more. It's elegant, it's clever, but I've lived long enough to know that sometimes less is just less. Honestly, that's not a bad thing. In fact, that can be the best thing, especially in retirement, where the world is telling us to live big, live large, do more. I say live lighter. Today, I want to share why letting go of the less is more myth can lead to a lighter, a freer, and a more peaceful retired life. Hi, this is Raina, and this is Small Retired Life. My channel looks at all the topics that pertain to retirement or living in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and any age actually. If you're new, welcome here. So let's talk about why less is less and why that is better. It's a lovely idea, less is more. But if you look underneath that, it's still rooted in effort. It's minimalism with a goal. It's saying, I can downsize, but I can still live in luxury. I can have less stuff, but it's going to be beautiful. I can do less, but I'm going to be more productive. There's a quiet pressure underneath the whole less is more myth that pushes us to optimize, to curate, to be impressive, even in simplicity. And I'm not sure that serves us very well at this stage of life. I don't think we need to refine and repurpose. I don't think we need to strive to fill all the empty spaces with something clever and something transformative. Sometimes we just need to have some empty rooms and some empty spaces in our life so that we can meditate on the things that truly make us happy. When we're constantly trying to strive for some form of perfection, it's very difficult to truly focus on things that give us joy. I know that seems counterintuitive, but again, the myth of less is more is society telling us, well, if you purge all of these things out of your life and then fill them with these extremely curated moments and objects and essentially form a new brand, then you'll truly be happy. And I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that the less is less philosophy is more appropriate to the stage of life where I'm at, retirement, because I need that space, I need that emptiness to essentially figure out what truly gives me joy. And when I'm always focusing on transforming as opposed to just being and doing simple things like walking by the river and listening to great music, things that aren't considered productive per se or considered something extraordinary, that is when I find my best moments. And they're not particularly big moments. So what does less is better really mean? It means when you're letting things go that you're not replacing them with things that now prove that you are living life more fully. Initially, when I retired, I downsized to a smaller home. I purged my closet of its corporate clothing. I wasn't traveling every single month. I just let myself be. I allowed myself to exist and to be happy with not having those things in my life. I didn't replace everything with a curated capsule wardrobe right away. I didn't get out there and go to Mexico and stay at resorts or travel constantly. I just stayed home and I did a lot of walking by the river. I did a lot of knitting at the time and a lot of reading and a lot of little things. I didn't have a side hustle right away. And even when I thought about maybe having a business or doing something, at that point in my life, it was kind of in the back of my mind because I just wanted to experience these empty spaces and these empty rooms and just enjoy the quiet moments before I went out there and started embarking on creating some new me. I just let all of this stuff go, and the result of it was peace, quiet, enjoying myself, enjoying my life, and finally at the end of that, some clarity. And let me just say that took, I think, around 2 or 3 years. We don't need to transform every aspect of our life. Sometimes we just need to let it be. We need to have the empty rooms, because I think in that we actually figure out what we love and what we enjoy. And then we fill the spaces with that instead of what the world is telling us we should look like, be doing or not doing. To me, less truly means less. It means fewer bills to pay. It means less things to clean, less spaces to clean. It means less decisions to make. If you've never brought more things in the first place, then you don't have clutter to clean out. If you're not out there constantly replacing things, then you don't have old things that you need to store or you need to figure out what to do with. You don't need 10 hobbies. 1 or 2 is fine. Retirement is not a performance. It's simply about being and about living your life and your day-to-day. Having things simple and maybe having your days a little bit slower than what you're used to. I think the best way to enjoy is to not fill your day with more and more, but to enjoy the simplicity of less. Let's talk about something that's a little bit tender to most of us, and that is identity. I've brought that up on my channel before. It's the concept of when we're younger and we have a career or we're in a job, a lot of our identity is associated with that. Or we're mothers because we have young children at home. We're carers for our parents or for other people. There's a lot of identity associated with the things that we do. When we retire, that gets stripped away, and sometimes it feels like we're lost, that we don't know who we really are. I actually believe that it's a great moment, because for me, it gave me permission to be who I really wanted to be. It was not about showing up because someone else told me to show up. It wasn't about acting a certain way because if I didn't act that way, there would be a loss of some kind to either my job or my well-being or perks and benefits and that kind of thing. Now I have the permission to be who I want to be my true self, because the only boss of me is me. Less responsibility can feel like coming back to yourself, back to who you really are. Sometimes that takes a little bit of meditating on what and who that person is. But let me just say, it's very freeing. Less isn't about making more of it, but it's finding what was there all along and finding the person who you truly are. Less responsibility can feel like coming back to yourself, coming back to the person you are in the first place, and getting underneath all of the noise that was created by the environment that you were in when you were working and you were having to be someone else because someone else demanded that from you. I think there's a quiet that I'm hearing in my retirement, things I didn't hear before. Like when I'm out in the backyard just watering my garden, my tiny little garden, and I'm hearing the sound of the birds and the sound of the rustle of the leaves. Things that were so inconspicuous to me before are now out there at the forefront, and it's actually quite beautiful. I feel happy when I watch things growing in the spring and the little bit of garden coming alive, and I get my bird bath all set up. When you're not always looking for the next thing that's supposed to happen in your life or that you want to have happen in your life, you actually start hearing what life is telling you right now. It's more about the moment. That's not minimalism. That's not productivity. That is just presence, being here in the now, enjoying these simple and slower times. So here's what I think. Less doesn't have to be more. Less is just less. In a world that's constantly pushing you to travel, to be more, to do more, to be more productive, I choose to do less. I choose to have less. And I choose to focus on a simpler and a slower life. This is what gives me true joy. That doesn't mean that my life isn't full of wonderful things. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy my moments. It doesn't mean that I sit around doing nothing all day. It just means that I'm very particular about the things that I allow into my life, into my day-to-day, the kind of projects I embark on. Even with YouTube, I love doing YouTube. I love filming. I love being creative. I had someone say to me in a comment that my introduction to one of my videos was too long. It's one of the videos where I had a similar introduction to the video here, where I have some film of me doing things and walking and enjoying nature. Well, those are things I love to do, so I will continue to film them and they will continue to feature in my videos because they give me joy. It's that kind of thing. It's making decisions that make you happy, that give meaning to your life without constantly having to add more things. I want peace, I want ease, I want enough. So if you're in this phase of life like I am, where you're tired of chasing and chasing more, just stop chasing. Just enjoy living the slow life because it's a wonderful life. You don't need to fill it with more. You need to enjoy the things that you have now, the things that are already in your life. This whole topic of less is less, I find really pertinent to me because I am the type of person who tends to overthink things. I get very anxious around clutter. I don't like it when I have too many things in my closet. And I also don't like to feel like I'm not relevant and that I'm not doing things that are productive. So I'm consistently having to remind myself that some of this stuff just doesn't matter and that it's more important to focus on just living a nice, slow life, doing the small things that ultimately give me the most joy. I know there's many of you out there that have this absolutely down. You're doing all of the right things. You're engaging in your hobbies and you don't worry about stuff. You don't get anxious about what's in your closet and what's not in your closet. And let me just say, I envy you. It's just not my DNA. My DNA is that I just think about all this stuff. And maybe this is why I like doing YouTube, because it gives me an outlet for talking it out and getting it out there and getting other people's perspectives. I encourage you to leave any comments in the comment section below and share with us your own views about less is more, less is less, and what you think about it. So this is it for this week. Thank you for watching and supporting my channel. And I will see you all next week at our regular time. Bye.